I'm out there in that tree, and that time, that 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and then the other supplemental times on top of that, just to find myself at the end of the day, and shut down the other voices that are crowding into my head that are telling me, BS. I have no value. I have no purpose. Everything I do stinks. Whatever's going on here, I suck at this. I'm bad at that. All the stuff that can kind of start creeping in when you're saturated with other voices.
Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode driven by our friends over at Ridge Rock Hunt Company, and I'll talk more about them at the end of the episode in our sponsor segment. I'm Sam with Fall Obsession, your podcast host. Thanks for joining me. This week I'm on with a special guest, first time joining us on the podcast. He's with an organization called HeartSupport, and that's Mr. Dave King. Dave, welcome to Fall Obsession Podcast.
Well, great to be here. Sam and I were just talking about it. Love the name Fall Obsession and vibrantly share the concept.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, we're it definitely encompasses what we're all about in just a couple short words for sure. So we're happy to carry that title for sure.
Yeah.
But Dave, to kind of get things started for us, as I just mentioned, you're with an organization called HeartSupport. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you guys are doing over there at HeartSupport. Yeah,
great, Sam. Thanks for having us on. So I'm an executive director of an organization called HeartSupport. It really launched as kind of a suicide prevention initiative, maybe 10 years ago. So I was actually working for my own not-for-profit in that same vein. I was coaching varsity high school basketball and football, and just was noticing, actually girls fast pitch softball as well. Noticed mental health becoming quite a front edge issue with a lot of young folks, and I started a not-for-profit, and part of what we did was a big music festival every year, free music festival. Just invite kids in just to have a day off, and we just kind of give kids unconditional love, and lo and behold, I book a band called August Burns Red. It's kind of a hardcore show. ABR is just a big band, and their frontman Jake Lures and I just kind of hit it off right from the get-go. I ended up booking them 4 different times, and Jake and I just hit it off. We found we were just aligned in kind of our heart for the community, our heart for the kids. I kind of helped right from the get-go, kind of help them kind of put together the board and things for HeartSupport while I was doing my own thing over at iMatter. And then 2018, HeartSupport had grown to the point where they needed a little more season at the helm, and Jake brought me on board to run the executive director role here at HeartSupport in 2019. And I'll put it to you this way: we've progressed into kind of coast to coast, north to south, kind of a national organization, really grown in kind of our impact and in our influence. And the short of it, Sam, is we're kind of a bunch of A personalities that are tired of burying our kids and tired of burying our friends at the end of the day. I mean, I'm a veteran, and hang around some lions, some veterans that we do a lot of life with, and we know the stats, right? So I mean, we did a podcast last night with Tulam from Ronin Tactics, and Terry Hewen, who's a SEAL Team 6 guy, 20-year SEAL Team 6 guy, was in on the Captain Phillips raid and incident there, and then my close friend, Command Sergeant Major Don Mack. And what we're all talking about is we might be all A personalities and out woodsmen and kind of not necessarily self-described tough guys, but we tend to be mentally a little bit, what we think is a little bit tough. And what we're all finding is that we all have to take care of our mental health, and we have to take care of our approach and our hope. And we're losing guys and young people that that really we don't need to lose. So we're all coming together to say enough is enough. We're tired of burying our kids, and we're tired of burying our friends, and we're building a kind of a rapid response network, both on the platform side of things through social media and different events there. And we run a master class on triaging wounds and kind of recovering from trauma. As you know, our war veterans are coming home and having to deal with some stuff, stuff they saw over there. Veterans tend to see things and smell things and hear things that come back to haunt them later on. And so we're building kind of a rapid response team. We're there building inner circles and tribes. A group of folks of guys that can open up and share about the things that's going on inside. It's not really what I'm pushing 60 years old. It's not the culture I grew up in. I grew up in a culture that is silent, tough guys, right? And that's really not working, right? We've all had loss. I've had some pretty tragic loss, and I've found that I just didn't have as much as of a tough guy, football, bow hunting veteran, Army guy as I thought I was. I was struggling inside, really, with dealing with loss, and so we're banding together. Going to do something about it. It's not really awareness. We're all aware that veterans are struggling. We're in the do it something about it stuff, and that's kind of the organization. Two-tiered approach, platform side of things. So we have kind of support walls and resources available on our platform. And I've got a really strong team that oversees that. I personally oversee, and Jake Lures, the August Burns Red frontman, personally oversees more of a flesh-on-flesh approach, where we're building relationship one to another and kind of leading the way for guys to say, hey, let's develop an inner circle, kind of an SOS team. So when we're feeling low, we can kind of hit our SOS and have our brothers kind of stand right there with us and walking us through it. Because bottom line is, life can throw us some pretty tough stuff, and I think our mental health is a really important thing. It shows up in our family and our job and our workplace and our own heart, mind, and soul. So, we're very aggressive, very proactive, and very committed one to another. Being family, brothers, instead of talking about what divides us all the time. Maybe we can talk about what unites us. And you're in my case, we're gonna I'm sure rally around bow hunting.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I will say a little plug on that. I'm glad to do this with you guys. Veterans, a lot of them are picking up archery, right? The first thing I got, my friend Mac, was a brand new Matthews bow. And I'm a Hoyt guy, right? So it was a big stretch for me, but I got a good deal on a Matthews bow. So I gave him a high-end Matthews bow, even though it broke my heart to do it. You're probably a Matthews guy.
I gotcha. Man, that's awesome to hear what you guys are doing, and like you said, the do something about it mentality behind everything. I'm very familiar with the mental health aspect of everything, not from a veteran standpoint, but I'm a full-time outside of Fall Obsession. I'm a firefighter paramedic. So, and there's been a big push in our field as well to address mental health and to kind of to get in front of it, and definitely to do something about it, in areas where it's needed, because leading up into here recently in my world with that, it's been a whole lot of suck it up and deal with it, and we need to trend away from that. And so I can relate, and I'm very, very appreciative of what you guys are doing over there for sure.
Well, yeah, brother. And, for what you do, thank you, right? One of the things we are incorporating into our veteran side of things is first responders. And it's the same thing. And, you'll hear from our guys right off the bat, whether your trauma's on the battlefield in a foreign soil somewhere offshore being deployed, or whether your battle's on the streets of America. What you see and have to deal with and smell is something you work through. So, big heart gratitude for what you're doing. We're here for you guys as well. So, appreciate it. That's tremendous service.
Well, thank you. Much appreciated. But to back up, you're spot on that a lot of guys are picking up a bow, or maybe just getting into more of a therapeutic shooting with firearms, whatever it might be, more marksmanship style stuff. Really awesome to see that trend. I know a ton of guys personally that that's their therapy. Or I mean, for me, even,
Right.
archery, bow hunting is my therapy. I look forward to it every fall. We were talking before the podcast about how much you hunt and everything too.
Yeah.
It's there for all of us. But man, I don't want to jump ahead or leave anything unaddressed. I know we'll get to all this and stuff, but before we go too far off into hunting or archery or anything, there's an event coming up,
Yeah.
actually down here in Texas,
Yeah.
that you guys are a part of, that benefits this mental health side of everything for veterans and first responders. Tell us a little bit about that event coming up at the end of March.
Yeah, this is our first one doing this in Glen Rose, Texas, at 10 XXX Ranch. And if you know anything about that, you want to Google that ranch. It's an exquisite piece of property. One of the nicest pieces of property I've ever seen, and they're actually donating the ranch to us to pull this event off. It's on March 25th and 26th. March 25th, we're just coming together to hang, evening kind of banquet type thing, and it's casual, right? So I mean, the guys will be there in their jeans. We're not going to be there in tuxedos and all that stuff. But we've got some real hardcore war fighters and trigger pullers coming, good friends of ours. Tulam from Roland Tactics, if you want to look at them, as our keynote speaker for Friday night, and Don McAllister's command sergeant major from the 82nd Airborne, retired, he's the first command sergeant major I've ever met, and he's very quickly turned into one of my closest friends, period, on the earth. He's in my inner circle. We're actually in each other's inner circle, so he'll be there on Friday night as well. Just kind of sharing their experiences and kind of the importance of kind of building those close-knit circles and people that you can trust, and actually taking time out of life to kind of enjoy one another. We tend to be pretty hard working in this nation, a lot of us guys and gals, and forgetting that self-care is important, and these guys are going to focus on that. Two has a great great story. Actually, Tulam was born in Vietnam in 1970, I think, and when Saigon fell in 75, left in a boat and was in one of these boats. And I'm old enough to remember these things, and a lot of these boats didn't make it. They go through the Indian Ocean, and Two and his mom survived the trip, and everybody on that boat didn't. End up getting rescued, and then brought to America and adopted by a Green Beret family at Bragg. And then at 12 years old, Two made a commitment just because of his background. His father was Arvin Ranger, killed by the Khmer Rouge. He made a decision to help, in his words, people that are oppressed. I mean, very similar to, I think the life kind of decision you have to make in what you do as EMT and a firefighter. Hey, I'm going to give my life to helping others. Two did that at 12. Spent 25 years with the Green Beret and Special Forces. I think he did some stuff with Delta. So he'll be there Friday night. And then the next day is the fun day. So we have this kind of two-tiered approach, Sam, where, listen, we're going to work. Right, we're going to work, right? So we're gonna do the things we have to do, but part of this is building community. And so for the events that we do, we, instead of having like all this conference stuff where people are talking at people all the time, we're more focused on interaction and building lifetime relationship. And so the next day is a fun day. We've got R&R skeet shooting coming up from San Antonio, going to run a skeet shooting event for us from the shotgun side of things. So 100 clay pigeons, or sporting clays, I guess is what he's running there. And then we've got a 3D archery course we'll set up and run, and 3D skeet as well. So I'll have some flu arrows there, and we'll shoot some clay pigeons in the flu arrow, and all of this goes to benefit the work we're doing. And then we're collaborating with an organization called the Veterans Project. I really want to encourage your followers to look up those guys as well. Tim Kolsak, who runs the Veterans Project, just preserves the legacies of our national war fighters. And I think Blake. So Blake would have Blake with that outfit for a while. They're just they're really helping us point the directions one to another, the veterans kind of our way, and and they're just doing great work inside the veterans community. And then Saturday during the day as well, and this is kind of a cool thing. Not only are we going to have a 3D shoot, so when you come in, we'll be registered. You'll have an opportunity to go through the shotgun and the 3D shoot. We'll have it as a day-long event. But in there's also a couple hours of shooting instruction from Terry Hohen, who's 26-year SEALs in the SEALs. Most of it was six, with Team 6, and again was lead sniper on a couple of the things there. He can tell his own story. And then Rudy Reyes, who is the movie Generation Kill was made out of, and his wife Jade, who's also, by his word, Jade is a better shot than he is. She actually teaches handgun firearm instruction, so they're going to do firearm instruction during that course of the day. And then that night, Micah Fink is going to present at our dinner. So it's, we'll have a get together. So all meals are provided. Dinner the 25th, lunch the 26th during the day, and then just a community dinner that night. And then we'll hear from Heroes and Horses founder Micah Fink. And Micah, check out Heroes and Horses. I mean, what we're doing is even like Fall Obsession, and we're just banding together people who have a heart for our veterans, for our youth. I mean, HeartSupport is about kind of both, veterans and youth, right? We're losing our kids, we're losing our veterans. For us, it's like, what kind of country are? It's time to step up and do something about this. And we really don't want to leave it up to even the government to do it. I'm not even sure it's the government's job. I think it's our job, right? It's my job to look after my friend. That's my job to look after my kids. And I said to a friend of mine the other day, if you and I call each other brothers and you lose a son and I don't, we're not brothers. So, we're really building kind of more of a, I don't want to sound cultish, because we're certainly not that, but,
right.
Kind of a brotherhood family kind of thing here. We're all in this together, and really taking all the things that the culture's trying to divide us with and say, you guys go get divided over there. That you can worry about that stuff. We're worrying about the fact that we're fellow Americans. We're brothers and sisters, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of who you love, regardless of what you've done, regardless of what you've done, what's been done to you. We're actually in this together, and you guys fight it out over your division stuff over there. We're out. We're gonna more worry about taking care of one another, and our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that event is just off the charts, brother. I mean, it's one of the best. I've done a lot of events. This is one of the funnest things I think I've ever been associated with.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, exciting times, and that's March 25th and 26th of 2022?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And how can people find it, learn more, sign up, all that good stuff?
Yeah, great. Go right to www.heartssupport.com/vets. You can find it anyway. You can find it if you go through the Veterans Project as well. But best way, right through the HeartSupport website. Go /vets has all the registration side on that. If you have, I will say this: if you have some peculiarities, in other words, if you know a Gold Star family or a veteran that you want to invite, and there's money's an issue, just DM me. You'll be able to find me, Dave@heartsupport.com, and we'll work something out there. Because we're actually, again, this is a fundraiser to raise what we're doing here, but everything we do is impact driven first, and we want to make sure if there's people that just need to find some community, we have an avenue for them to be there as well. If you're an archer, come out and shoot, man. We're short archery teams, I'll tell you right now.
All right.
I think we're going to be okay on the shotgun side, but we're weak on the archery side, and I'm coming down with a team, and I'd hate to win this thing with one team. There is prizes, raffles. We've got a rifle we're raffling off that was donated. We've got some fighting knives donated. We've got Gator sunglasses giving us some stuff. We've got some pretty cool raffle items coming on there. So, chances are you go there, you'll be leaving with some cool items, and we're not shortchanging on the raffle side of things. It'll be some pretty cool stuff. You've got some surprises coming on the raffle side too.
Awesome.
I'm trying to score some night vision stuff. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, good stuff, man. Y'all are pulling out all the stops and going the whole 9 yards with everything, it sounds like. So, and that's the best way to do it. So happy to hear it. And I definitely encourage our listeners, especially if you're local, one of our local listeners here in North Texas, that might be interested in heading out there to go check that out. And again, it's March 25th and 26th of 2022. So, Dave, I want to talk some hunting and some archery with you.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want to kind of just reiterate and just kind of bring it back again to the front of everybody's mind, just the therapeutic effect that this kind of stuff has on individuals. And it doesn't even have to be a military veteran, a first responder. Hunting, archery, shooting is an outlet. It is a huge therapeutic avenue for anybody, for the human being. Honestly, we all in today's world deal with so many stresses and you know, mental stuff, some more so than others, obviously, but hunting is therapy, and it's that way for anybody out there. And I encourage folks, if you're a new listener, if you're a new hunter, yes, you hunt to put food on your table. That is one of the ultimate goals. But for me, for example, I hunt to put food on my table, but I also go out there and I hunt to clear my mind, to get away, to reset. And there's something just absolutely special about that. Not everybody understands it, you know. Not everybody in my own life understands it. Even, you know, some people ask me, why are you going out there and just sitting out in the woods for days? How's that fun? It's needed. It is 100% needed for my opinion, for anybody, but especially for folks that have to deal with this. So I just wanted to kind of bring that back to the forefront of the conversation there briefly before we start talking hunting. But hunting is therapy, and if you haven't gotten to experience that yet, then whether it's this event or I know there's a ton of organizations out there that can help get people in the woods, or us at Fall Obsession can do what we can to help you too. But you got to try it, man. if you're new to it, and archery too, archery on top of everything.
You know, I couldn't agree more, Sam. Even tag on to that. You know, over my life, as I've had to juggle like everybody, just, you know, I was a 70, 80 hour a week guy, right? So I had a career, and then I coached on top of that. So I used to leave my house at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get my day in forestry. I'm a forester by degree, and then get to the gym by 3, 4 o'clock so I could coach there. And then, you know, 30 hours a week on coaching on top of that. And I really had to learn, you know, I'm crowding 60 pretty hard. I really had to learn a way to turn off the noise, right? And so there's a couple of habits I have. You know, one of them is I tend to shut down my brain computer at 10 o'clock at night and refuse to keep it open up again until 6 the next morning. So I'll give that to my brothers and sisters out there. It's a good habit to get into if you can start doing it. You know, try to shut things down at night. I found I wasn't solving anything when I'm fretting and stewing all night long anyway. So there's one. But the other is the predictable time I have, you know, in that fall season, right? I already know, my whole body knows. I mean, I started bow hunting in 1975. You know, I married in 85, so 36 years. And I told my wife I hunted, and she thought that meant I went out on Thanksgiving Day. So she's like, I didn't know what hunting meant, right? Because for me, the other part too to this, for my own ability to deal with and be productive in life, right? We get this one snapshot of time to steward this earth together and steward our lives together, one to another. And for me to be able to be effective and do that well, I had to find ways to unplug, and there's no other way I have it other than the time I have every fall. I tend to be a kind of a solo guy. I mean, I hunt with my crew, but we see each other in the morning. If we're in camp, we'll see you tonight. Or it's just, you know, during the course of the season, but we're not standing on top of each other when we're when we're out there on the archery side of things. But just the way that I know that for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I've been able to take like the month of November off after I quit coaching football. First thing I did when I quit coaching football was to, nobody talked to me in November. I'm going to be gone. But it's that time and reality that allowed allowed me to clear, right, and be able to think a little bit clearly, right, so I can get out there in that time and just commune with nature, be part of it. I don't know as I would say I probably don't really hunt to put food on my table, because that cost me about $200 a pound if I looked at it that way, right? It is because I'm part of it out there. I hunt because I'm a hunter, and I'm out there in that tree, and that time, that 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and then the other supplemental times on top of that, just to find myself at the end of the day, and shut down the other voices that are crowding into my head that are telling me, BS. I have no value. I have no purpose. Everything I do stinks. Whatever's going on here, I suck at this. I'm bad at that. All the stuff that can kind of start creeping in when you're saturated with other voices.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. You said it perfectly. Absolutely, 100%. So Dave, tell me a little bit about your passion for bow hunting. We were talking before we started recording, about how long you've been a bow hunter. But, bow hunters, rifle hunters, anywhere in between, what is special about bow hunting for you?
I probably led with the big kind, for me, the big part of it. But like you notice, it's really the only thing in life that I have that I make sure that everything around me knows that that's going to be the priority come that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge. There's so many components to it, right? So I do QDM here, so I'm pretty. I do food plots. It really allows me to give an outlet of a hobby, right? I guided for like 10 years. I was a horseback guide up in the Adirondack Mountains for 10 years. And I had to quit doing it because when you take your hobby and turn it into your job, it quits to being your hobby. And exactly what happened. I hated guiding, right? It was terrible. I kept getting these guys that just really didn't respect the outdoors. So for me, it's like, as a man of faith too. I see this as this creation. It just gives me an opportunity to get away from the concrete and, the pavement, and actually be part of a world that a lot of people don't get a chance to see. You get to wake up with the woods. You get to go to sleep, go to bed with the woods, right? We tend to be out there, before dawn and see things that if you're not out there, you're just not going to see. Right? There's just no way to be out there with what happens out in the woods with fisher and wolverine and badger and bear and, the things that move around at night, and the interaction between the different, predator prey species and all the things you get a chance to be part of, and always surprised. Every day is different. It takes remarkable patience. Right. My best friend and we've been bow hunting together for 25 years now. And he's one of the most impatient hunters I know. And I'm one of the most patient hunters I know. So we actually feed off each other, because he teaches me things, because he gets, listen, if I'm not seeing things, I'm moving, I'm way too on the other side. So I'm just going to kind of take the day off, and I'll hit this when it's a better time to do it. So, you learn one to another. It's a camaraderie. We do a week of hunting camp. There's a time to go into camp and just hang out and laugh. And in the younger days, we used to go in and hunt all day, and then, predator hunt at night, and, get to bed 2-3 o'clock in the morning and be up at 4 again. Now we go to bed earlier, but
yeah.
It's everything together, Sam. It's the community out there, and it's the community of your closest allies that you get a chance to experience things that you never experienced if you weren't out there.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I've gone to Colorado 3 times. Different friends every time, just chasing elk on public land, setting up a tent, and making every mistake known to mankind, right? I should know I should know how to play the thermals, because I've been bow hunting my whole life. But when you go into another region, you have to learn all these little set of dynamics that are not close to similar up in the Northeast in the snow country, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of guys don't know what it's like to chase whitetails on snowshoes.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome and very well put, for sure. Another thing I wanted to, and I told you before we started, I was going to ask you about this, because you mentioned before, kind of in the pregame that you have a caribou hunt coming up. Any of our longtime podcast listeners may recall that is like #1 bucket list for me. And I know this will, I'm assuming, be your first time to get to do that. Yeah. So, kind of obviously setting the stage for what's about to happen. Tell us a little bit about what you're excited about for a trip like that.
Well, like you, I mean, caribou and elk are probably the two tied for first. I probably would have said I want to chase caribou sooner because I'm up here in the Northeast and we've got caribou up in Labrador. We've got tundra caribou up there. But up here in Labrador and Quebec, they kind of got it tied up. And one of the I would say little pet peeves of mine is how expensive it has gotten to be able to go do this stuff. And in the East Coast, you just can't do it, right? So you have to get a guide's fees and all this other stuff. And to me, it's kind of a I'll even use travesty that we've so commercialized, something like caribou that we have to, it has to, cost us $10,000 to go, cut caribou hunt. And, I don't have that. For me personally, I don't know as I'd want to do that, right? For me, what it is for me is it's me against them. And I don't really want to bring in a third party and say it's actually them against them, and I'm just here to pull the trigger. That's not my style. So I'm like you. I'm super stoked about the concept of my godson's in flight school. 20-year-old godson, been bow hunting since he was 5, and in Pennsylvania you can start killing deer I think at 8. Charles has probably killed more deer than I have for crying out loud. I know since he's been 8, he's killed more deer than I have. So my godson's out there, doing flight school in Anchorage. And so Larry and I are going to fly out, bring our bows and just do it yourself. Hop up in his Jeep with his, roof tent, and go into the backwoods of Alaska. And, we'll all do our homework. I mean, we haven't done much of it yet. I talked to Charles last night, so he's going to start sending me some maps and do the thing that we love to do, which is go into a place that we know nothing about and, try to figure it out and prepare and read and study. And like you, I mean, I can see it in you because I'm 58 and a lot of change, and this is the first chance I've had to get out there and chase these critters.
Yeah.
So I'm giddy about it, bro.
I imagine so. I can see it, and I have no doubt that I will be the same when it comes time for hopefully myself to get that opportunity. So
I'll keep the intel because I mean the big thing for me personally, I'm really motivated to keep it as inexpensive as I can, and that represents something to me. I've gotten it down so I can do a bear hunt for $1,500. I can get out and chase elk for $1,700, including licenses, travel costs, food, the whole 9 yards. And that's kind of what I'm looking at doing here.
Yeah.
Keep it down to, something manageable. Where the cost is in the license and the transportation, not in the, excess fees.
Right.
But you and I both know the only reason we can do that is because if we're not successful and I don't have a rack on my way home, I'm not gonna, lose my cool over it.
Right.
I know going in, this is a harder way to do it. And if we're unsuccessful, then so be it. Because I don't define success on these types of things as a kill. It's the experience with my friend and my godson, and that amazing environment out there, and and hopefully find a way to deal with grizzly bears, because I've not had to deal with grizzly bears before.
Yeah,
I've killed a bunch of black bears. I've got a lot of black bears all over. I don't do much grizzly bear. I don't know what to do with grizzly bears.
Be a new challenge for you there for sure.
Yeah. I generally like to feel like the predator when I go out there. I don't like feeling like the prey.
No.
I'm pretty sure I had a mountain lion in behind me when I was elk hunting. and I've had felt like a prey a couple times. One of the bears I killed was at 10 feet, wounded bear. My cousin wounded, and it was him or me. And God's grace, I was a hair quicker.
Oh wow!
But so I've been to prey a couple times. But I generally don't like feeling like the prey out there.
No, I would imagine not, for sure. Well, I will have to later on the year after you go on your caribou hunt, we'll have to reconnect and follow up and maybe jump back on here and hear about that trip, because that sounds like obviously a once in a lifetime experience. So that's something to capture for sure. So
well, I'll keep good notes, bro, and I'll let you know. I'll give you good intel. I mean, right from the cost, right 99, you might find it's something you can probably make happen. I understand there's places you can go up there with a 4-wheeler. I've done that with elk before, so.
Yeah, and that's definitely something. I mean, you prove the point that if you do the research and everything, you can go on these trips, on more inexpensively than some might realize and everything. I know, unfortunately, I haven't drawn the tag the last 2 years, but 2018, 2019, we did that with pronghorn in Montana. We did a do-it-yourself on public land up there and everything, and it was a relatively inexpensive hunt. We were successful the first year. Second year we weren't, and just like you were saying, you might not come back with any meat in the cooler or antlers for the wall, but you're coming back with experience and knowledge that there's no way you would have had otherwise. So
yeah, so true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love it.
Well, Dave, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all this stuff with us today on our podcast and everything, but I can't let you go without hitting you with a few questions that we ask all of our first-time guests on the podcast. So
far out.
The first one is, what is one of your favorite hunting memories, and tell us a little bit about it.
Wow. I'm going to give one a little bit recently, and it's a little bit, this is a tougher one, right? So, it would have to be when my middle godson killed his first deer up on my land. Nicholas, we lost Nicholas last year. And he was the best rifle shot. He was a better rifle shot than I am. I could not believe how good of a shot that kid was naturally. But he couldn't shoot a bow to save his life, man. He just, it's like, what worked for him with a gun did not work for him with a bow. And so that boy would launch a lot of arrows. And, I just have been, just finishing this season. I spent a lot of time in the double ladder stand that he and I spent so much time in, and just watching him get that first bow kill has got to be to the top of the food chain. This young man, just so passionate for the outdoors. I taught to still hunt. All the stuff. I just, I spent a lot of time with that boy, and just watching that was great. And I've had great times with his dad too. So his dad's another Army veteran, was in the first Gulf War, and so I've got a bunch with him, but my best one with his boy.
That's awesome. I love hearing, because we've asked that question to countless number of guests at this point on this podcast, and it's I would say at least half of the folks that we ask that question about, their memory revolves around somebody that they were with being successful. And I think that just goes to showcase the true brotherhood and family aspect of what we do. Not we talked about the brotherhood side of everything from the mental health network and stuff, but just as hunters, man, like being happy for somebody else that you've invested time and knowledge and that you love, being happy for them to be successful is awesome. So, all right, second question, and we might have already hit it with our earlier conversation, but the next question we ask are, what is at the top of your hunting bucket list that you haven't gotten to do yet? And I know you already mentioned the caribou that you're getting to go on later this year, but
yeah, well, other than that caribou hunt, I have to say it would have to be, a successful elk trip, So that's got to be. I mean, that's some of me is like, why am I chasing a caribou? I haven't had I'm still kind of horny for elk, but this is opportunistic, right? So I got to say that, it's those are majestic animals too, and they have such a pristine way about them, and they're not set up for great archery. I mean, you got to have your game on, man. I got to say, I'm really looking forward to getting back at it and having a successful elk hunt.
Awesome. Good deal, man.
I probably would be moody if I went elk hunting again and I didn't come back. Okay, but the fourth, I might start getting a little moody, and I might have to start selling out some money to at least a half guide.
Oh man. All right. Well, third and final question to wrap things up. Again, we've talked about HeartSupport. We've talked about veteran, first responder, mental health, the network, the support system that you guys are actively building and developing. If you had to give one big piece of advice to somebody listening to this, or listening to this episode, watching the video, whatever it is, whether they're a hunter, a veteran, a first responder, if you had to give one piece of advice to somebody who might feel like they're struggling a little bit with some of this stuff, what would it be?
I mean, I'm probably my favorite question of the bunch, and I want to answer that, with some intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I found going through life, and I tended to be kind of an A type of personality, where I'm fairly aggressive on the way I, maybe passionate's a better word, right? So what I found now that I'm a little bit older, is the things that the stresses that I allowed to really consume me weren't worth it, right? And in certain ways, if I've learned that, listen, if somebody's not going to be my champion, I'm probably not going to let them be my critic. So I really don't give as much voice to people that are critical in my ear. And then learning to the value and really the fun in developing kind of a tribe, whether it's a tribe of 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's not really, all the numbers is not that important, but the if we're struggling right now with just our identity, maybe purpose, hope, right, those things, begin to open up your eyes and look to somebody in your periphery that you can just kind of solidify a relationship with, and say, hey, hey, do you mind if if we kind of bounce things off each other? I could use somebody to listen, and then but here's the thing, please don't fix me, just listen, right? So I've got that with Mac, Command Sergeant Major Mac, my buddy Larry, just guys that you can just open up to, and I really want to encourage that. I grew up in a generation of tough guys. I might have I've probably been knuckles a bunch of times, right? So I found as I've gotten a little bit older, that some of that stuff just doesn't really matter anymore. What does matter is giving myself permission to have compassion for somebody else, and then to be around people who might have some compassion from where I'm at, and also embrace my own personality, for crying out loud, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes we have a personality type that we says, man, I wish I wasn't like this. Well, man, I mean, some of these personality types, you were born for a purpose, right? So use that personality to, find out what that personality is allowing you to accomplish that somebody with a different personality type can accomplish, right? Purpose.
Yeah.
I'd probably open it that way, surround yourself with people that can kind of infuse you with some hope, with some purpose, and look at your identity, right? Our identity isn't necessarily our job or our relationships. Our identity is who we are at our core. We're sons and daughters, right? So I encourage that. I guess I close that whole thread with limit the negativity, man. I've really had to just, have a lot of the division that culture's throwing at us and make it take a back seat. Listen, I have opinions too, right? Why do I have to separate myself from people who disagree with me, right? If we can, let's take some of that negative energy and just, show it to the hand. I'm just not going to go down there. I don't care how passionate you are. If it's turning your heart into negative, just lack of hope, maybe it's not worth your time.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, I couldn't have said it better. Spot on.
Yeah, you're on the front lines with this, bro. I mean, I bet a lot of the things you answer, especially on the mental health side, is perspective in life they're dealing with. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave, thank you. I appreciate, like I said, you taking the time to join us for a podcast to share what you guys are doing over there at HeartSupport, this event coming up again to our
Awesome.
listeners and our viewers. Guys, go check that out. And if you're able to make it down to Glen Rose, Texas, March 25th and 26th, head on over to their website, social media, either them or the Veterans Project can get you guys there and find out how you can sign up and all that good stuff and get registered.
You can find me on Instagram, Dave King HS, right there. Just very simple. You guys got a Fall Obsession on Instagram?
Yep, Instagram and all the social medias. Yes, sir.
Far out. I'll find you there.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
All right, Dave, I appreciate it, guys. For our listeners, thank you guys for listening to another Fall Obsession podcast. Like I just mentioned to Dave, we are on all the social media platforms, so be sure that you go follow Fall Obsession, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're putting out multiple new videos a week related to hunting in the outdoors. All of our content is found on our website, fallobsession.com, as well as some of our apparel. On that website, you can also listen to these podcast episodes, and there's a forum on our podcast webpage for you guys to provide feedback if you'd like to. Send us some topic suggestions for episode 100. It's coming up here in a few weeks. And
Congratulations.
yeah, I know, a big milestone for us. We're looking forward to it. So we're giving our listeners and viewers a chance to kind of throw us some questions during that episode. And guys, again, you can do that from fallobsession.com/podcast. And then also, before I forget, sponsor segment, Ridge Rock Hunt Company and Rockin' the Hat. They're our podcast sponsors, and Derek and Lacey over there in Mississippi, they book hunts. They'll get you set up with a vetted outfitter in North America, whatever you're looking to hunt, and they'll work with you and hopefully try to find something that'll work within your price range as well. They're good people over there, and they'll get you taken care of. So, awesome. Dave, thank you again, sir.
All right, brother. Have a good one, and we'll hopefully see you guys out in Texas.
Absolutely, yeah. Have a safe trip coming down here pretty soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening, and as always, we'll be back again with y'all next week for another Fall Obsession podcast episode. We'll catch you then.